Welcome to the Brian Buffini Show, where we explore the mindsets, motivation and methodologies of success. Today we're going to hear Brian's predictions on real estate and an interview with Dr. Lawrence Yun, Chief Economist from the National Association of REALTORS. You're going to hear the top 3 things everyone wants to know about the market and where it's headed. Let's listen in.
Well, the top of the morning to you, and welcome to our Bold Predictions mid-year update. It's a crazy market, I know, and so many people are feeling it. And I thought this would be a perfect time to kind of give you an update on what's really going on in the industry. And so I have 3 points for you to cover today. First one is we're going to cover an industry update. What's actually happening in our world? So many times when we talk about the real estate market, it's about the consumer and housing, which is obviously where our focus needs to be. That's who we serve. But how are we doing in the industry and what changes are taking place? So we're going to talk about that. Secondly, a very popular part of our program, we're going to do a market update and we're going to have an interview with Dr. Lawrence Yun himself. He's got some great stuff to share that'll really kind of cut through all the noise and help you get past all the conversations that are happening in the marketplace today. We're actually going to cover the 3 big questions that are the most Googled questions consumers ask on the internet about the real estate market. We're going to delve into that. And then lastly, I'm going to share with you how to take advantage of this opportunity by updating your skills. And I'm going to talk about specifically your ability to earn and your connection to learning and what we see in the marketplace and how we're seeing this ever-widening gap in the industry between the people who are learning and how they are earning and the people who are not. And so it's your skills that pay the bills. We're going to show you that. We'll give you some empirical data to show you that and how so many people are becoming unskilled in this crazy market. So let's dive in right now and let's do a little industry update. And so one of my favorite things to peruse over the past 25 years in the training side of the real estate business is the NAR member profile. And so this is inside Real Estate Intelligence. It's a 110 page report, and I always peruse through it. And this is my little anal self. I love seeing what's really happening. And Dr. Yun and his team put this together every year. It's an extraordinary amount of research. And so let's talk about what's taken place. So on the realtor side of things, in 2019, there were 1.4 million members of the National Association of REALTORS. What happened in 2020? That grew to 1.48 million. It's the highest number of members ever in history. Obviously, membership goes up. What should come down? Experience. So the average experience now in the real estate business has gone from 9 to 8 years. So experience is coming down. Demographic changes continue to take place. The share of women in the industry continues to rise pretty significantly. In 2010, it was 57% of the industry. Right now, it's 65% of the industry. Very, very powerful demographic. With all the technology and all the things that are being pushed to you and sold to you all the time, all the technologies, very easy to not be able to see the wood for the trees. And so this hopefully will help you. How do realtors most often communicate with their clients? Well, guess what? Number 1 is text, and it's 93% of the communication between the agents and their clients. Next is the telephone. That's right, the telephone is still a crucial form of communication. And then lastly, email. So for all the stuff we hear and all the hot new, sexy technology that's being pushed, texting, phone calls, and email is still where it's at. How are we getting paid? This continues to change in the marketplace. In 2020, 37% of realtors were compensated under a fixed commission split, okay? 100% desk fee, those types of things. When I was practicing in real estate, I went to one of these situations, and I think we were 3% of the market at the time. 23% with a graduated commission split, which is how the real estate business has operated for about 30 years, and now 15% with a capped commission split. So obviously, the game keeps changing. We'll talk a little bit about teams later on, but teams have changed the game. Teams have changed the game for the brokerage business. And so lots of dynamics there That's just some highlights right there from the member profile. Here's a couple more things I want to delve into, and really on the economic side. Because most consumers and agents right now agree on one thing about this market. Real estate agents must be making a fortune economically in this market. The market's so hot, prices are so high, commissions are so big, realtors must be killing it. Not so fast, my friend. Let's take a look at the actual numbers. So here's the median realtor income. Now, this is brokers and agents. In 2019, it was $49,700. What happened in 2020? It's $43,300, a 13% drop in income. Now, that's not so shocking because we know, for the starters, we were shut down for a couple of months, right? We had to ultimately be declared essential. In some states that was slower than others. And so as it comes to the actual real estate business itself, our stores were shut for a couple of months, so it makes sense that there would be less income. However, that's not how it feels. It's not how it feels to the consumer. It's not how it feels to the media. And it also doesn't feel that way to agents. And I'm going to walk you through this and why this is the case. So what happened transactionally? Well, in 2019, the average number of transaction sides was 12. That dropped to 10. Almost a 20% drop in the number of transactions. Yet it doesn't feel that bad. Why do so many agents feel like they're doing better than they are? Well, two things. The speed of the market means cash flow. So from the time you get a listing to the time you get a commission check, the speed is very quick. We know that the listings are turning over very fast. So what happens is you're getting paid quicker. So the speed of the cash flow, money's coming in, makes you feel better. Secondly, we know that the average prices have gone up, and even though there's more increase on commission pressures, typically people are making a little bit more than they were on the average transaction. But don't mistake this fact. The number of actual productive units is down. It feels like it's hot. Everyone feels like realtors are killing it. Maybe not the case. For sales agents, okay, so non-broker members of the National Association of Realtors, it's gone from 35,000 in 2019 down to 33,800. And so this is the stuff that keeps me up at night, okay? This is why, as important as this industry is to our economy, as important as housing is, and housing has become more important to everybody than ever before, especially when people were forced to stay at home. They became so much more aware of their home surroundings. We know what's going on with the remodeling business and the construction industry. We know the demand that's there. Housing has become a huge part of the everyday conversation. Doesn't it make sense that the people who are making fortunes for their customers when they helped them buy a house 10 years ago get compensated properly? And that's really what I want to talk about. Because for those of us who have been practicing real estate for a long time, we help people get into homes. Their equity have gone up appreciably. And the people who make that happen, our incomes come down. We're not like stockbrokers. When the market goes up, we get paid. When the market comes down, we get paid. Not at all. And one of the wildest things is when the market runs hot like this, agents tend to make less money. And now we have more people in the industry, less experience, and commission pressure coming. It feels like you're doing well because of cash flow and because of the speed of the market. It feels not as painful because prices are up. But let me share with you, revenue keeps coming down. Now, we know a little bit about this at Buffini Company. It's kind of our expertise. Our average member who comes to us is making $33,800 just like everybody else. But our average coached member is making $310,000 a year, almost 10 times that of the typical sales agent. And this is one of the reasons why the National Association of Realtors has seen these numbers repeatedly for 25 years and have partnered with us now on our 100 Days to Greatness training program to get people who are new to the industry or making less than $100,000 a year, which is about 75% of the industry, over that threshold. And one of my favorite parts of our partnership with the National Association of Realtors has been the relationship that's developed with the Chief Economist of the National Association of Realtors, Dr. Lawrence Yun. And Lawrence and his team have been doing phenomenal work for a long time, and we're so excited to be able to kind of shine a light to much of the work they do, whether it be the member profile or, in this case, bringing an update to people who want to know what's going on in the marketplace. Consumers have so many questions. The media is pumping out so much, disparaging voices, if you will, that say different things. So we're going to kind of cut to the chase today. And Lawrence and I have been at this a while. In fact, during the middle of the pandemic, we recorded an episode of This Too Shall Pass of the Brian Buffini Show. Almost 100,000 people tuned into that. Really, at the height of the lockdown, we were sharing with people, this too is going to pass. The market's going to come roaring back. Real estate's going to be in high demand. Rates are low. He and I took a lot of criticism as being Polly and Anna and too optimistic. And it turned out that as optimistic as we were, it even shot past what we said would happen. So I'm very excited to bring him back on our broadcast today. And we're going to do a market update with Dr. Lawrence Yun. Lawrence, thanks for joining me today. We've been doing this for a while now, and I'm looking forward to kind of helping the people shed some light on this crazy market we're experiencing right now.
Hello, Brian. And certainly it has been a very unique past 12 months or past 15 months. But, you know, the market, the surge that occurred was certainly a surprise, positive surprise. And given the uniqueness of the market of lack of inventory, more people thinking that the industry is easy to make some money, people coming in. We have over 1.5 million members. We cracked that number. But as you know, it's an 80-20 business, or maybe now it's 90-10 business, because one has to have that special skill to get the deals done in this unique inventory short market condition.
You bet. And you know our mission at Buffini Company, we want to, if people are going to come into this industry, we want them to succeed. We want them to get a good platform. I think it's good for the business, it's good for the industry, it's good for the consumer to have an industry they can count on, and that's why I'm very excited about our partnership on this. Let's dive in for a second. People want to know, all of the different things we're hearing about. Runaway inflation, the value of the dollar, cryptocurrency, all these different dynamics. Let's cut through it right now. What's your take on the state of our economy as you look at it as a big picture?
It's just like the COVID introduced many unique factors. The economy is also facing many new circumstances. The actual output, that is to say the dollar value of goods produced, service provided, we're actually back up to 100%, but not the job market. We have 48 states with below job market condition compared to pre-pandemic. The exceptions are Utah and Idaho, which never really shut down. Their business were always open. But the job market is not yet back up, which means those people who are working, they're doing more work than before. Job openings, record high. There's help wanted sign everywhere. So, we have an interesting dynamic situation. And of course, inflation is popping out the highest in multiple years. The core inflation, something that the Federal Reserve monitors very closely, which exclude food and volatile energy prices. Now, as a consumer, I care about food prices, I care about gasoline prices, but evidently Federal Reserve are less concerned with that. So if you exclude that, core inflation is actually rising at the highest pace in 30 years. Wow. Can you imagine what we were doing in 30 years ago? So that's where we are today.
Yeah. And obviously that plays into real estate because as we've talked about for a long time, a fixed asset with a fixed payment is one of the greatest hedges against inflation. People are aware of that. And now that's why there's even more demand for real estate than ever before. And that's going to continue for a while, isn't it?
Oh, yes. People renting, they can expect higher rent next year, maybe 4% increase. Some hot markets, 7% increase. And then year after that, another increase. But consider homeowner. They're fixed on their 30-year mortgage payment. So month after month, year after year, essentially the mortgage portion of the payment is fixed. So it's a great in terms of getting the finances, family finances under the budget, yet the asset price, home prices are rising, which is an added bonus, gravy on the train that's rising, and is rising quite strongly at the moment.
You bet. Where do you think we're going to finish the year, Lawrence, as far as number of transactions? You're always pretty good at that. Where do you think we'll finish the year?
It's going to be the highest since 2006, wow. 6.1 million. Now, we are seeing some topping out in the home sales activity in recent months. That is to say, we are beginning to see sales approaching pre-pandemic levels. So we are not, we are past that surge, so we are beginning to approach. But we have to remember, we have 12 months of home sales in 2021, while back last year we missed a couple of months.
Right, right. And obviously we know there's inventory shortage. We know there's, I picked up a couple of pieces of lumber the other day, 2x4s. And I was paying $30 an hour to a guy to put them in, and two 2x4s cost $32. And I felt like, oh my gosh, that lumber is worth more than that man's time for an hour. And I was kind of sick about it. But we know there's some restrictions, I know some challenges with getting the inventories levels up and so on and so forth. Where do you think inventory levels are going to be here in the next 6 months or so?
It's going to be better. So the absolute acute shortage of inventory, we are already past that. Great. And the way I see it is, first, we have more home building activity. It's taking a little longer to complete because of the higher material costs, including the lumber prices. But given that the builders are eager to produce more, taking out more housing permits, but it's taking a little longer, but at least pipeline, it is there. And the second issue is that mortgage forbearance, where some homeowners who lost job, they were unable to pay mortgage. But now that program is essentially being phased out. And some, we hope they can find a job and become current, but some people will not become current and they have to sell their home. I do believe that it will not be a foreclosure sale because of strong price increases, but it's an added inventory to the market.
Right, and I'm going to address this later on when we're on the third part of our program here today, but the most asked question on Google by a factor of 2,450%. On real estate is this a bubble? People are gun shy of what happened. You talk about 2006, the last time we had transactions above 6 million. And what I'm witnessing is realtors not being able to answer that question. And the realtors are kind of looking at their clients and they're going, is this a bubble? Maybe we could address that head on right now and why this is so different than what we experienced in 2007, 8, and 9.
Well, let's just look at the inventory. We just have about 1.2 million homes available for sale. Back when the home prices started to decline, there were 4 times as more homes listed on the market. So that's a major difference. And we don't anticipate inventory to pick up to such a magnitude in any time soon. So that's one big difference. The second critical difference is that we don't have those shady, risky mortgages. And hence, all the homeowners on their fixed mortgage payment, 30-year fixed rate, therefore, they are immune to any policy changes that may be pursued by the Federal Reserve. For home buyers, they are impacted, but not homeowners, so they are not in a vulnerable situation of facing foreclosures.
Right. I've been explaining to people, I said, bubbles happen when you have runaway price increase, lower down payments, and adjustable rate mortgages. And what we have now is we have prices that are rising, but we have more down payments than ever before, almost twice the typical down payment, and the rates are fixed. So there's more equity, there's more of a solid dynamic, and the rates are fixed, as opposed to I got into a 2% adjustable rate mortgage and it adjusts to 4 or 5 and now I'm in trouble. Now people are locking in these low rates on 30-year fix with more money down, and it's just a more stable dynamic. It is unusual. I haven't seen this cycle too many times in my 35 years in real estate, but nothing I see says we're in a bubble or anything like it.
Let me just add that given the strength of the price increases, 20% price appreciation, which is clearly exceeding even my optimistic projections of what has occurred. So the question is, could it decline? And of course, anytime, it could decline, but would it be persistent decline? And the answer is definitely not, because you have an army of home buyers who want second chance opportunity. They have been outbid. They are frustrated they cannot get into the market. But if the prices was to decline, they are ready to move in. So don't expect any persistent price decline. It may occur just temporarily. Even that temporary price decline may not occur, but if it was to occur, it's just simply a second chance opportunity for some buyers who have been outbid by others.
You bet. And like you mentioned, we're going to have this continual rental price increase, which is going to continue to create demand. people wanting to get in the market. It doesn't look like the rates are going anywhere anytime soon. There might be small adjustments, but it's still going to be relatively a very low rate. So the opportunity is still going to be there. You've written some things about how you're seeing there's some pent-up demand to move, where some older folks who wanted to move and relocate to different parts of the country, they've put that off due to COVID. There's people who put off making a move who we're seeing with not only the new construction maybe coming in the third and fourth quarter, but also some folks who put off moving might create a little more inventory for the market.
Oh, absolutely. The COVID, I hope everyone went through that safely. And I know that some realtors and their family members were impacted. It was a tough. But what we are seeing is now with the number of new cases of COVID coming down drastically, and many elderly being vaccinated, the delayed move, now they feel comfortable inviting strangers to their houses. Yep. And also we are beginning to see, as we I walk down the street, look at the restaurant, there are many elderly dining indoors, which is indicating that they feel comfortable in an indoor setting. And therefore, I think they will list their home without any concern of catching COVID. And furthermore, the migration pattern, especially from high-tax states of California, New York to other states, that has always been occurring, but now it seems to accelerate more. There's more acuteness of the tax differential between the states.
Thanks, Lawrence. You're making me feel good about my San Diego living. Not only do we have high prices, but we have, of the 7 taxes, we have the 6th highest. But thanks so much for bringing that up. I just have to walk outside because it is 72 degrees, and I remind myself, okay, it's still worth it, but it just feels bad. Lastly, I would like you to give maybe in summation here, we obviously have tens of thousands of agents who are tuning into this broadcast today, both on watching us and then also listening in. What advice would you have for an agent to work with their clients to be successful and have a good, strong finish to the year? What advice would you have for them?
Just constantly contact, because in today's world, with so many buyers competing for same property, that realtors' knowledge about the local market condition or what special factors leads to better acceptance of an offer. And for the sellers, you want to get the best price, but not overpriced, because given that the median days on the market is 17 days, if it goes over 30 days, people will suspect there's something wrong with their home. I don't really see it, but I know there's something wrong. So you don't want to overprice from the beginnings. So all that consideration needs to be taken place. And of course, professional realtors who are succeeding know exactly how to get the business deals done.
And thank you, Lawrence. Well, you know that's our commitment at Buffini & Company, is to try to make as many agents as we can, as professional as we can, as productive as we can, as successful as we can. I want to thank you for taking some time with us today. We know this market's a little crazy, but at the end of the day, the business is doing very well. There's a great opportunity for the long haul, and it looks like this is not only going to be a good year, but next year's looking pretty good too.
Next year, I think there will be another percentage increase, maybe more smaller percentage gain, but nonetheless, it will be an increase. So thanks for having me on the show. Always my pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Lawrence. Thanks for joining us from D.C. Appreciate that. And as I was mentioning prior to talking to Lawrence there, we talked about the top 3 Google searches. You know, this really is where the rubber meets the road. And these are the 3 questions that every consumer is asking. When is the housing market going to crash? By the way, that particular question to Google searched by over 2,450% in just the past month, and it doubled last week. People believe a crash is coming, okay? And they're asking this question all the time. You heard a very different story from that from Lawrence here a minute ago. The next question that's being asked is, why is the market so hot? This question's up 350%. And then lastly, how much over asking price should I offer? So I thought we could help you with this. And in addition to providing Dr. Yoon for you today, we produce the Brian Buffini Real Estate Report twice a year. And we do this so you could download this report. You can print it off. You can put it on your iPad. You can take pieces of this graphically and use it on your social media or whatever else. All I ask is you give a little credit to where it came from. We have all kinds of people who don't do the research, don't have the team, and forget to at least a tip of the cap of that this came from Buffini Company, which is a very appropriate thing to do. So we're giving this to you to arm you to go talk to your customers. And if you put it out there on social media, we just ask that you give credit where credit is due, because we're continually driving this information into this industry. And so what do we have for you in this report? Well, we have the state of the market. And again, graphically pleasing, a lot of the stuff we just talked about with Lawrence. We have regional snapshots, so you can personalize this for yourself. This is not a bubble. Do you think your clients might need to see this? Do you think the 2,450% increase in Google searches might need to see this graphically and presented? What's going on with mortgage stats? Next, what to expect for buyers, what to expect for sellers, just so that they know. And then ultimately, home ownership. Why it's the best investment, like we just talked about, a hedge against inflation. Fantastic thing to do. We want you to get this resource absolutely free. Go to buffiniandcompany.com/midyear 2021 resources. Midyear 2021 resources. Very, very powerful. And with that, I want to challenge all of you right now, okay, to update your skills. And I've been saying this for a year and a half. And I am a positive guy. I want to encourage people. I believe in people's potential. I want to champion people to their success. I'm 35 years in the real estate space. Let me say this, real estate's been the making of me. I'm so proud of the real estate business. It's entrepreneurial. You risk everything to get in. There's no guarantee of a paycheck. We do a fantastic service. Housing is 16% of the overall economy. It's crucial. It's a big deal. It's where people raise their families. It's the single biggest source of net worth in America. And yet, I see agents continually struggle. And I also see an industry that when the market gets hot like this, gets sloppier and sloppier. And I've done some transactions. I've been involved in a number of transactions in the last 12 months myself as a consumer. And I got to say this, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to listen to this stuff. It's hard to see this stuff. People come to me all the time, Brian, can you help me? This is going on. And just because the market's hot, it's just a sloppiness has crept into the industry. And that sloppiness is reflected, by the way, in the incomes I see, but it's also reflected in what's going to take place in the future as the market adjusts. So let's just talk about the numbers, right? So it's not just my opinion. Again, back to the member profile. Here's the gross personal income, first for all realtors, and then obviously very much contrasted 2 years or less. So the folks 2 years or less, let's push in on that if we can. Less than 10 grand, 59%. Less than 10 to 25 grand, 15%. So 74% of all new agents earn less than $25,000 in gross commissions. By the way, 75% of all agents make less than 100 grand. Now, that is the reason why we partnered with the National Association of Realtors to create the 100 Days to Greatness program. And I had a program named that in 2005. The only thing we kept is the name. This started out as a new agent training program, but it is imperative for anybody making less than $100,000 to take this course. It's just fundamentally the soundest training program ever built for this industry. And it is basically soup to nuts, all you need. A young relative of mine just got in real estate, fine. He wanted a personal coaching with Brian Buffini. I'm like, no, you don't. A, you couldn't handle it. You're not ready for that. I wouldn't do it. Here's just, I love you very much. Take 100 Days to Greatness. End of story. You know, this is it. This is my love song to the real estate industry. And it is absolutely nails. 21 modules of training on demand. You can take this in a group, but you can also now take this by yourself in a self-directed way. You have a workbook that you go through. It gives you the mailings. It gives you the e-reports. It gives you the personal notes. It gives you all those resources. And then it gives you an online tracking device like none other ever developed for real estate. And then an online resource center like none other developed for real estate, where everything you need, from tools, from videos, from explainers, everything is there. And it's soup to nuts, laid out like Hansel and Gretel. Here are the breadcrumbs, joined from this one to the next, to the next. And I've done things with these training programs I never did before, which is actually, as a practicing agent for the past couple of decades, I went on appointments and I had the camera crews follow me. You know, most of the people who train in real estate today never sold a house in their life. It doesn't mean it disqualifies them from being a trainer, but it's just not the same. So I host an open house, and you watch me host an open house. Not, oh, this thing's going to sell in a few days. How do I actually host an open house, meet a couple of people walking through, and actually cultivate a relationship to set up the opportunity to earn their business? You see and listen to the initial buyer call and how I lock them in as a client. You'll see my actual buyer presentation. I give the actual resources and the tools and how I do it and the way I do it, and then you watch how I do it, and then you get to go practice that and do it yourself. You'll see how I actually teach how to show like a pro. Most agents have never been taught how to show a house. So the pre-showing, the actual showing itself, and the post-showing, how to show like a pro. And then actually on the listing side, the pre-listing appointment, my actual listing presentation itself, it's 13 minutes. This was all one take. This is a real life, surefire listing presentation. Here's what to do. Here's how to do it. Here's the resources I use. And we give it all. Hansel and Gretel, all done. And then even a price reduction. Now, I know you think you don't need those skills, but trust me, even in this market, and as we start to see things kind of tighten up certainly in the entry level already, you're going to need to know these skills and to do them well. So I've been at this for over 35 years. This is the best thing I've ever built. And if you're making less than 100 grand a year, or if you're new to the industry, it's just non-negotiable. If you're serious about being in this business, stop screwing around and take 100 days to greatness. 75% of this industry makes less than $100,000 a year in gross commissions. And 100 grand in gross commissions after expenses and taxes is not a very high-paying job. We do something that's so critical. We must do it professionally, and we must be compensated professionally. I love the real estate business. I love the people who have the guts to get into a business for themselves. We do something that's so crucial and so important. We got to be properly compensated as pros. But if you want to get paid like a pro, you have to practice like a pro. You have to have the skills of a pro, and then you get paid like one. So we know we have a minimum production goal of 1 close and 2 pending just during the course. Already seeing the first wave blow through those numbers. So very, very excited about that. So if you're interested in 100 days, go to buffiniandcompany.com/midyear 2021 resources. You can get that wonderful Brian Buffini real estate report, and you can find out the information on the training program. Now, we are predominantly a coaching company. That's what we do. That's what we're known for. We've been the gold standard for coaching for 25 years. And I want to show you this because this is really, as I read the member profile, I go, man, I just got to share stuff with people. When I see where people are at year after year in the real estate business, I thought, why don't I show what's going on for people we've coached? So here's the Buffini and Company coaching profile, if you will. That year 1, bang, we're getting people past that 100 grand mark. Year 3, 277. Year 5, 350. Year 10, 425. The average member who's been with us 15 years makes $581,000 a year. And we have people who've been with us 25 years. So again, sustained greatness, sustained success over the long haul. We've been at this a quarter of a century, 25 years of coaching excellence. It's the gold standard. If you're ready to get organized, if you're ready to get more focused, and you're ready to take your business to the next level, go get a coach. And I'm excited to let you know, even though we've been coaching teams for many, many years, finally built our team coaching offering. So if you have a team or are interested in starting a team, you should go to buffiniandcompany.com/midyear 2021 resources. Starts July 1st. Phenomenal, and very, very excited about that. So we've covered a lot of good stuff today. We did an industry update. Dr. Lawrence Yoon killed it as always, was fantastic. And then we've also challenged you today to update your skills. Just because the market's moving fast doesn't mean you're doing well. You need to be a pro, and it's your skills that pay the bills. And so don't forget to go and get your bold predictions report, 100 days, team coaching, whatever you need, go to that. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope you continually understand how important a role you play in the well-being of our country and the well-being of our industry. And we just need to know that we play this vital role. And so many of our clients in Canada who've worked through these circumstances as well, phenomenally working hard under very restrictive government COVID restrictions that they're involved in. And I just see, you know, this heroic effort on behalf of people who do heroic work every day. But I think when you're a hero, you should be paid like one. So come and join us, get involved, use the information, get yourself to the next level, become a pro. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you at the end of the year when I give you our bold predictions for 2022.
May the road rise up to meet you, and may the wind always be at your back. May the rain fall soft upon your fields, and the sun shine warm upon your face. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. See you next time.